calls me from out of the pit.
I'm Paul.
I'm Mark.
And this is
The Importance of Being Earnest, our Tuesday night edition of The Return of the Son of the Show.
the show where we explore the filmography of
The greatest thespian who ever lived, Ernest Borgnine.
the man who was in 100 films and died in 97 of them. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at Hannie Caulder, 1971. And I forgot. Shit, hold on. I got you something.
Oh,
Yeah. Last week when you brought out the Vicente Fernandez CD,
yeah.
It reminded me that about 2008 I was in a gas station in Novi, Michigan.
Okay.
And I grabbed this, and I want you to have
Okay. Fantastic. Let's show it to the
I'll put it on still cam. Just read the title.
The man who sang with Vicente Fernandez.
Check out them bops on the background.
The Frank Sinatra of Mexico, Vicente Fernandez, and the Mel Torme of Hamden, Connecticut, Academy Award winner Ernest Borgnine sing these 13 timeless chart-topping hits, such as MacArthur Park, Don't Go Breaking My Heart,
Classic.
Steppin' Out. Is that the 1980s Steppin' Out?
The Joe Jackson.
The Joe Jackson, okay.
Yep.
You Don't Bring Me Flowers. Proud Mary. The Rose, of course. Under Pressure. Interesting. Under Pressure, yes. Where the Wild Roses Grow. No Sugar Tonight. New Mother Nature.
That's right.
Fantastic. Rapper's Delight. Sweet Jamie. The theme from Shaft. And of course, El Condor Paso.
That's right.
Yes. Wow. What a beautiful gift. Worth every penny, I'm sure. I didn't even know they did that. Of course.
Neither did I. We were coming back from Motor City, and we happened to stop off at this one gas station where we always have to stop and go to the bathroom, and lo and behold.
Well, one would think, I suppose, after that movie that, maybe Vicente reached out to him and said, I'm sorry I couldn't be in your movie, but would you like to be on my album?
That's right.
And there we have it. Wow. Only $19.99, or 4 easy payments of $4.95.
I haven't even attempted to look this up on eBay. I don't want to know. I was fortunate enough; it was in the nice price section at the gas station, so I only paid like $6 for it.
Correct.
But all that being said, if you like our shenanigans, if you like the importance of being earnest, or the Return of the Son of the Show, or anything else we do on this channel, do us all a favor. Hit the like and subscribe button. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss a video. Leave us a comment. Check out our the question of the episode that is usually pinned to the top of the comment section. And above all else, enjoy the show.
Yes.
These are the Clemens brothers. Crude, brutal, savage.
Look what we got for supper.
This is Hannie Caulder, a woman alone in a man's world.
God, that guy's built.
Hannie Caulder, a big bonanza of a Western, with an internationally famous all-star cast. Raquel Welch is Hannie Caulder. Bounty hunter Robert Culp. Academy Award winner Ernest Borgnine. Jack Elam. Strother Martin. Christopher Lee. Diana Dors.
Looks like your sign fell down.
Riding towards a rendezvous with death, the beautiful Avenger and her ruthless adversaries. An explosive vendetta that can only be settled by the gun.
Strap it on.
Can I put my pants on?
You're not going to need them for long.
A rip-roaring Western adventure, packed brimful of action, excitement, and drama, with a beautiful hellraiser called Hannie Caulder.
So, Hannie Caulder,
Yes.
which all these years I thought was Hattie Caulder.
Yeah, I noticed that when you're like,
saying Hattie.
Where's the Hannie Caulder? It's
Yes.
like, no, it's Hannie Caulder.
Yeah, Hattie. And definitely Raquel Welch is no Hattie.
Yes.
I mean, I should have known that just does not forget.
She's a Hannie, all right.
She's a Hannie. And a handful.
How about we go over who's in this
Yeah,
1971 gem, and then go from there.
Yes, so in this fantastic production, we have Raquel Welch, who I did some research. She and her husband financed and produced this film for her to star in. So the lovely Raquel Welch is in it. And then we have Robert Culp. I guess most people in our audience would know him from The Greatest American Hero.
Yeah, he was also was it I Spy?
I Spy, yeah. And a leading role, which I hadn't seen him in a while in a leading role. Of course, Ernest Borgnine, this time as the lead villain.
Yes.
So, of course,
of the three brothers.
Yes, I will talk about whether he dies or not. A surprise guest appearance by Christopher Lee, which we'll talk about his role for sure. The incomparable Jack Elam is in it.
That's right.
Yeah. Strother Martin is in it.
One of the dirtiest people on the planet.
Yes. Greasy.
That's right.
And then Diana Dors as the Madam, a very small part, but a hilarious part.
Yeah. I thought that name sounded familiar, but I haven't watched this since the '90s. It's my dad's favorite, basically his favorite Ernest Borgnine movie.
Yes.
At least that's what he tells my mom.
Right. Yes. It's only Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah. So it's really Strother Martin. He's a huge Strother Martin fan. But we watched it so many times growing up that by the time I was an adult, I kind of had tuned out of it, So, and I watched it once or twice in the '90s. That's basically been it.
I haven't seen this since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So, and again, my kid memory says Hattie, but
yeah.
And
my kid memory plays with this movie a little bit too, but we'll talk about that later.
Yes. So the plot.
Yeah. So the plot.
The plot. So it's a very basic plot.
Yeah.
But a good plot.
Yeah.
So she's a frontier wife. We start with three brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, they might as well be Three Stooges.
Yes,
and
they are literally the Three Stooges.
They are literally the Three Stooges, and very much act like them in the movie. So they are bumbling across the West, stealing their way, trying to steal their way across the West, and failing every time. Mostly due to the baby brother, who is trigger happy.
Yeah, Strother Martin,
the trigger happy baby brother, and they end up going out to I guess it was a horse. I couldn't tell if it was on the express route, but it seemed like a change area for horses, resting your horses.
Yeah, they had
I forget what those are called. Yeah, I forget what those are called. Put it in the comments.
Yeah,
those of you who
know more than
us. I know there's a name for it. And before Hannie Caulder's poor husband gets out explaining who he is and welcoming them to rest their horses in water, the younger brother just shoots him right in the chest.
Yeah.
And beautiful, explosive British Hammer horror film blood.
That's right.
And this was a British production.
Yeah.
And so you get the nice flowering of the way too bright red blood.
Yeah.
Of which lands all over the fence, and he goes flying backwards. And then the three brothers, they see Hannie Caulder come out in shock. They run into the house and proceed to each have their way with her.
Well, I don't know about each of them because I think they keep throwing Strother Martin out the door.
Yes.
So there's this hilarity in the middle of this absolute barbarism.
Yes. And then they just, as they're walking out, they just light the place on fire.
Throws the lantern over his shoulder,
and blows it up. And as they're leading the horses away, they don't even have the saddles on the new horses.
They're barely dressed.
Yeah, they're barely dressed. They're barely stumbling along incompetently. As they're leaving, she stumbles out coughing in just a blanket, and watches them run.
Yep.
Watches them go.
She pretty much wears a smaller blanket through the rest of the movie.
Yes, correct. Although Robert Culp later tells her to get dressed, she only half listens. So
she was hyper focused on the pants.
Yes,
as was everybody in town.
Yes. So eventually, the brothers are going on a crime spree, and then she stumbles her way across town, and eventually finds her way to a bounty hunter, Thomas Price, who played by Robert Culp.
Yep.
And he agrees to train her how to get revenge. Teach her how to use a gun, teach her how to stalk people, teach her how to follow them.
Teach her how to roll a rock up on a stick.
Yes. Not sure what that's supposed to. I suppose it makes you steady.
Yes,
and your hands move quick.
Like wrist strengthening,
correct.
Exercise.
So you can pull the gun out.
Yes, faster. But as we noticed while watching it this last time, she's working this stick, and Christopher Lee is not making the golden gun, but he's making her a gun. And there's some unmistakable shenanigans. Let's just say it. It's the equivalent of the train going through the tunnel almost.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, leaves nothing to the imagination.
No.
So they encounter, while he's training her, they run into Christopher Lee, who knows Robert Culp and is a weaponsmith.
Yes.
And so he fashions an appropriate gun for her, one that she can use quickly.
Yes, it must be much lighter because she has weak woman wrists, apparently.
And so they get surrounded. I'm trying to remember if I got this all right. So they end up getting surrounded by banditos who come in. Not the three brothers, just another random group of banditos. And there's a very long, prolonged shootout.
Yeah, it's like the movie kind of slows down.
Yeah,
and just about the time you're like, is this going to be a love story?
Yeah.
Suddenly, bandits.
Yes. And so very much took a cue from the Wild Bunch. I kind of thought okay, now we got to make all of our fight scenes like the Wild Bunch.
Yeah, so, pretty much. The Wild Bunch changed all that.
Yeah, and so very much slow motion, lots and lots of blood, lots and lots of fighting back and forth. Yeah. But I think the important thing to notice is that when she has one of the banditos sneak up on her, she's unable to kill him face to face, so Price kills him for her. And then they're kind of resting up in the upstairs hotel, and they have a falling out. Yeah. Where he says, either you got to take this seriously, you're not taking this seriously enough. I don't think you can do it because you couldn't even kill a man who was right there trying to kill you. And she says, I don't need you at all anyway. And so he leaves, and on his way out, he notices the three brothers have come to town. So they must have got ahead of them. Maybe.
I think they're just running around
in circles. Yeah. So anyway, they all end up in the same town. And Frank goes up to the bathhouse, and he gets all spiffied up. Still looks greasy. Yeah,
spiffy as he possibly
wet
can.
Grease. Yes, wet grease. And
oil and water don't mix.
No, they do not.
It's just got moved around.
So as he's walking out, Price comes up behind him, and basically draws his gun on him and says, "Put your belt down, your holster down on the ground," and he's going to walk him over to the sheriff and turn him in for $100.
$100 is $100.
$100 is $100. And as a bounty hunter, that's what one does. And so, unfortunately for him, the two other brothers stumble out of the saloon. They see him, and a very, very, very slow motion. Slow motion.
That was a bit tedious.
Much, yeah. I mean, it was like, okay, we get it. You watched the Wild Bunch,
but they didn't do the Wild Bunch / Kurosawa thing.
No,
where it was just slow and then mixed with something in real time. They just still shot.
Yes, yeah. So Ernest Borgnine whips his knife at Price as Price shoots off one bullet. The bullet hits the the saloon door, and the knife, a small knife, I thought, goes into Robert Culp's belly. And
Pretty good effect.
yeah, pretty good effect though. It did look good. Lots of blood, and so he falls to the ground. And then I think it kind of cuts away. I don't know how this would have all happened, but it cuts away, and the brothers have buried Frank.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hannie Caulder comes and gets Price and carries his body up. He's dying body up to the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm not really sure how that'll happen, but anyway, so it kind of cuts back and forth.
Yeah.
And so we watch the brothers bury Frank. And they get into a hilarious argument.
Yeah, it has. Again, getting back to my father, it has one of my father's two favorite lines in the whole movie when Strother Martin, he's like, I stole the Bible.
Yes.
And he just smacks out. You're gonna get God mad at it. God damn it, sorry, God.
Yes. Yeah, them trying to say something over Frank's grave is probably for me the best part of the movie.
It's some of the best dialogue for sure.
And so Price dies, of course. He dies of his wound.
As the master always has to.
Correct, the master and yes. So then she puts on her serape that barely covers her top. Puts on her gun, and then she goes to hunt down the two last brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And
one of whom hunts her down first.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So and then she turns on him, kills the baby brother quite effectively, I thought, through the window, which I thought was kind of cool. And then she hunts down Borgnine to I guess it would be a church, and there's a steeple, and
it's an old fort.
Old fort. That's right. It's a fort.
Yeah.
And
because the sheriff doesn't want any more.
Yes, the sheriff. Yes, the sheriff. What was her line to him?
There's no hard women. There's just soft men.
Soft men. Yes, what a great. And so, so the sheriff really doesn't do anything about it. And she gets to the fort, and just as she's about to confront Borgnine, he shoots her once, I believe.
Yeah, she got winged in town.
She got winged in town, yes.
But Borgnine was going to get her with the knife.
Yes.
Basically behind her back.
Yes. And then he gets shot by a mysterious figure in black who was standing at the top of the fort.
Who we saw earlier.
Yes, correct.
Dealing with Christopher Lee.
Yes, I didn't mention him before, yes. So we get this mysterious figure who comes out and helps kill Borgnine.
He evens the playing field.
Correct.
Which is why my theory. We'll talk about
our theory. We'll talk about our theory on him. In the credits, known as the preacher, and who she says, "Hey, he looks like a preacher." And then in the end of the movie, she and the preacher are riding off with Borgnine's body on a horse, and the credits ensue, and we get the Hannie Caulder song.
It's short, sweet, no time wasted, makes no bones about what it is. It's a straight up revenge movie.
Yes,
with that is basically a vehicle to remind everybody how incredibly gorgeous Raquel Welch is.
Yeah, I mean clearly
even dirtied up.
Yeah, her husband, and she came up with this movie, and had it commissioned to be written, and it was rewritten, I guess, a couple times, but. Yeah, clearly this is her vehicle to greater things. I don't know. For me, the movie is it's the dialogue between the brothers.
Yeah,
that's what. I do like the student-teacher relationship,
but those are so common, I guess. That's a trope.
Yeah,
and it's still good,
right?
But how many times can you see the student mess up, the teacher yells at him, the student, the student starts to get, and then of course the teacher, doesn't make it out of the movie.
Correct.
I'm not putting down that
right,
that relationship, but the brothers eat the movie.
Yes. Yeah, they definitely take up all the oxygen in the movie, as well they should. That's what they're just sort of this force this force of chaos to be reckoned with. As a Shaw Brothers fan, I appreciate the teacher-student relationship.
Well, yeah.
And as many times as I've seen it. So, but yes, to me, it's the brothers, and they're just. They really are the Three Stooges. I mean, they're as physical with each other and scream. They scream. I think Ernest Borgnine yells more as much in this movie as he does in the Poseidon Adventure.
Oh, he's got some pipes going in this movie. I mean, his lungs go all the way down to his feet.
Yeah. So he's really. So I think that for me, the Three Brothers is what makes the movie interesting. So let's talk about the preacher.
Well, when I was little, see, we're talking about kid memory. When I was little, I kept confusing the preacher for Robert Culp's character. So it wasn't until I watched it back in the 90s that I'm like, oh, wait a minute, there's just out of the blue, or black as the case may be, comes this guy with no dialogue, riding a black horse, dealing with Christopher Lee getting his gun repaired. And, and then he shows up later on in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, he's either stand-in for death or the devil, or
I think he's a stand-in for death, even though they didn't put him on a pale horse because he looked much cooler all
in black.
Because he basically stops, Ernest Borgnine from cheating, levels the playing field, and that's basically what death is. It's neutral.
Yeah.
So that's my theory.
Yeah.
It gets kind of out there, without being too without turning into like El Topo. It gets kind of, you can get way out there with that idea.
Yeah, I mean, it adds a bit of mystery to the movie as well.
An X factor.
Yes, it was a quick movie too.
Yeah.
It just flies by.
Yep.
And so I don't think it lacks the gravitas of the Wild Bunch. But I think its greatest legacy, and I read about this after the movie. So its greatest legacy is that it was Tarantino's inspiration for Kill Bill.
Obviously,
yeah. So that's clearly So, so for that raises the movie up for me, and it does. I mean, it does. It's clearly It's
you can watch this movie and go, how many times did that man watch this movie?
Correct. Yeah. Too bad Borgnine couldn't have been in Kill Bill,
or Christopher Lee.
Yeah, and Christopher Lee, very understated. He's actually a good guy. I mean, it's kind of
For me, the highlight of the shootout with the bandits is Christopher Lee taking a knee and just mowing them down, with his Winchester.
Yeah,
it's so. What more do you want in a movie?
Correct.
Correct. He's always Dracula or was it Saruman or whatever?
And
Scaramanga, yes, which we made the joke about. Yeah. He's making the gun and he holds it up and it's like gold. It's the wrong gun. Yes. And he goes and he gets the.
But then she's like, wait. It turns into like a little makeup purse and she can carry it in.
But yeah, that for me that made that bandit scene, and the whole thing about when Robert Culp and him are up on the balcony of his house and she's out there playing with the kids in the water.
Yeah.
And Culp's like, she wants to be a man, but she can't. And he's like, and let's thank God for that.
Yes. I think it owes a lot to the Eastwood, Man with No Name.
Yeah.
Where there's everything else is quiet but the brothers.
Yeah.
So everyone else is soft-spoken, says very little, but when they say something, it's important.
Yeah.
And the brothers are just loud and just saying nothing. Just idiocy.
That is interesting. Everything that everybody else says is very on point, very important,
deep,
very sparse.
Yeah.
But the brothers are just
They never stop talking.
Yep. That's good. That's a good duality. I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, this will be kind of a what I call a way homer. I think the more I think about the movie, there's more I'll find in it, and so I appreciate it for that. As far as a vehicle for Ernest Borgnine, I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, we get him as the villain.
Yeah.
And what if Dutch had gone full villain and dumb?
Yes.
So we take Dutch getting winged in the head by a bullet and maybe loses a bit of intelligence and becomes an evil brother.
It's probably, I mean, you make no bones about it. The Wild Bunch they were all bad guys.
Yeah. Yes.
But this Borgnine character
Yeah.
is one of the best of his bad guy
Mhm,
performances. He's
mhm.
just dirty, unscrupulous, angry. It's,
Yeah.
yelling all the time because he's got to hold up these two idiots,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, because in some ways Frank's an idiot too.
Hmm.
Even though he seems to be the more serious leader, Borgnine has to pull him along the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's noticed that I noticed a few times it's always Frank that also never has money. So neither brother can keep their money.
Right.
But yet they keep buying stuff. So clearly Borgnine is the only brother that keeps his money.
He's doing that thing that the older sibling does.
Yeah.
Just, all right, here you go.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
So they're both kind of idiots in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just a lot of good things about this movie.
I had read something. I was reading the If They Move, Kill 'Em, the unofficial biography of Sam Peckinpah.
Mhm.
Apparently, but shortly before he died, unfortunately, the movie never got made. But he was in the process of writing a script for Robert Culp, where tell me if this sounds a little familiar. Culp is a Vietnam vet. And he gets together with a bunch of other Vietnam vets to help liberate this like small town down in like South America. It sounds like a great movie, and I wish there was even a partial script laying around, but I found nothing. And unfortunately, Peckinpah passed away before it could happen. So I think that's one of those things that in a parallel universe,
that movie exists. Yes.
It was called like Summer Soldiers. So it would be out there raking in the dough to this day.
And then Robert Culp and the group would come to L.A. and be accused of a crime. They have to go on the run and help people. The P team, the Peckinpah team.
The Peckinpah team.
Yeah. I don't know about, they probably would have killed too many people, though.
Could you imagine Sam Peckinpah directing like a TV show in the 80s?
Yeah.
You mean I can show people get shot finally?
The A team, nobody lives. It's like they don't have to build anything anymore because they just kill everybody.
They just set them up and mow them down.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry. So, as we always do, we must look at the Borgometer.
That's right.
And rate this Ernest Borgnine vehicle on a scale from Borg 1 to Borg 9, with Borg 9 being the highest.
Right.
So, Paul, your rating for Hannie Caulder?
It's a Borg 7.
Yeah, you got me.
It's a Borg 7, and 7 is high for me because I'm just ornery about giving out them last few points.
Mm-hmm.
But that it's high praise, and they could more brothers would have made it a higher Borg, but I think it's her story, not theirs. So a Borg 7.
Yeah, I think I'll. So that we're not always doing the same rating. I'll rate it a Borg 5 because I think for that reason alone, it's clearly a vehicle for her, and that's the mistake of the movie.
Yeah.
Or because it doesn't commit to it. So with Kill Bill, the bride really is the. There's so many really cool characters, but you never forget it's the bride story.
Yeah.
And she's got a lot of cool one-liners, but in this, Hannie Caulder, I'm sure that had to do with Raquel Welch's acting ability.
Yeah,
but she, minus the very end where she actually does get some one-liners in. So I think a focus on the brothers more would have made the movie better. So I'll give it a strong Borg 5. However, my guess is it'll go up the more I think about the movie.
So possibly by the next episode,
it'll be a Borg 7.
It'll be a Borg 7.
Borg 7 is what I was originally going to say, but then I'm like, I think I'd rather watch our last movie more than this one again. So just for if we're talking about pure Ernest Borgnine, I'd rather watch something where he's more the focus.
Yeah, this is not his movie.
No, this is a great Western. Yeah. It's just not it's not for me. It's not a high value Borgnine movie.
Right, and this is the bare minimum. Hannie Caulder, Ernest Borgnine in a movie. This is the bare minimum of what we consider a Borgnine movie.
Yes,
the man's made countless movies but where he was the primary focus, or at least in the top tier of the cast. This is the bare bones minimum that we would consider a Borgnine movie.
Correct.
Like, I wouldn't consider Wild Geese a movie that's so bad that is good. I wouldn't consider that a Borgnine movie because he's in it for maybe 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, he's one of the main antagonists.
Yes, he's correct. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Borg 5 with a probability of going up to Borg 7.
So tune into the next episode
Yes,
of
we'll see if I
the
think about
importance
some
of
more.
being earnest. It may go up.
It may go up.
Any parting shots?
I think we have a good idea of where we want to go with Borgnine movies, but if anybody wants to request one for us to review, one that put it down in the comments. If there's something like, when are you guys going to get to this one?
Yeah.
When
are you going to do the black hole?
When are you going to do I mean, that's maybe I'll put that. The black hole. I was thinking our next one we've done later Borgnine, we've done middle Borgnine. Maybe we'll go early Borgnine.
Oh yeah.
The next one, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, then we're gonna call this a wrap.
Yep.
Again, just like in the beginning, if you like this kind of stuff, let us know down below by hitting that like and subscribe and that bell icon. I'm Paul.
I'm Mark.
And this has been
The Importance of Being Earnest.
Life never is peaceful, not ever until you find a way.
This camera is much better.
Yeah, I don't. In this case, I don't want it to be.
God, that guy's built.